Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my top 5 favorite non-fiction books, and this is a genre that I never talk about, so I think this is going to be a really special episode. For those of you who read a lot of non-fiction, I know that there's giant subgenres that, just it's such a big field, from history to essays to popular science, and I read so little of it that it's all sort of combined together into just one label of nonfiction, though I realize you could do top 5s in best history books or top 5 best essay collections, but this is going to be just a wide range of my favorite nonfiction books. These are also nonfiction books. I pick up a lot of nonfiction and then don't end up finishing it. I'm always like, oh, that sounds so cool. I want to acquire the knowledge on this subject, and then read the opening chapter and then never finish it. I think The History of Venice has been on my Goodreads currently reading now for like 5-6 months. But anyway, these are the nonfiction books I have finished and have read and finished and absolutely loved. So the first one I want to talk about is Hiding the Elephant by Jim Steinmeier. This book I absolutely loved. It's about the history of stage magicians from the beginning of the Victorian era up to like 1930s. It includes everyone from early time magicians all the way up to like famous people like Harry Houdini, and it just tracks the evolution of all these different tricks and how it evolved, and the golden age of magic. And it is just so well written, so easy to read, such an interesting subject filled with really interesting details about how tricks are done. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to break the magician code and reveal tricks, but all sorts of secrets lie in this book. It is so neat. It's also just really well produced. It has each chapter, it focuses on one specific trick or magician, and they have these great sort of chapter heading pages. I could show you more. And they have like diagrams as well. It's just so nice. See, a new type of magic. So yeah, one of my absolute faves, Hiding the Elephant. So, as with the magician book, I went through this phase where I just read loads of magician books. I then went through a phase where I was really obsessed with pirates. And so my favorite pirate book I read was Empire of Bluewater. And it's basically a biography of pirates around the Caribbean, but specifically Captain Morgan. And it just sort of follows his life, and you learn about pirates and how awful their lives were, and how they went and they would pillage a town or pillage an armada of ships, get loads of loot, then take it back to somewhere like Port Royal and just party for like 2 months on end, and then till they ran out of money, and then they would go and try and hijack another ship or do crazy stuff. And they lived sort of this anarchist utopia in a way, or at least that's what the author Stephen Talty tries to describe it as. And it is just so vivid, and there's these great action-packed ship battles and these clever ideas of how pirates work their ways out of insane problems. It is just so fun, so cinematic as well, and just one of those great sort of narrative histories. Can't recommend it highly enough. Empire of Bluewater. My next favorite nonfiction book is Moondust by Andrew Smith, and I thought this book was such an interesting idea. It covers the lives of the astronauts who landed on the moon, and what happened to them what happened to them after landing on the moon, and how their lives changed after that one significant moment. And it's really interesting how one astronaut became a painter, another one went totally into isolation. So many of them, their lives were littered with alcoholism afterwards, or divorce, and all sorts of problems. And what is that relationship of doing this one epic great thing like landing on the moon, and then what do you do after that? And it sort of looks at that question and probes that question, and it's just a really interesting biography and history of sort of the moon landings and NASA and space, which is something that I heard about growing up, but it was sort of something that happened in the past. And so it's exciting to sort of learn about that thing that happened in my parents' lives. And just super exciting. So Moondust by Andrew Smith. Next nonfiction book on this list is an essay collection, and that's by one of my favorite authors, Jonathan Lethem, Ecstasy of Influence. And this is a great essay collection. It also reads sort of like a autobiography of his life, but done in a very sort of Jonathan Lethem way of sort of mashing up styles. So you follow his life through his nonfiction writings, from, you know, his sort of early vignettes he's writing about working in a bookstore as a young kid, to, you know, growing up in Brooklyn, to you know, going out to San Francisco, interviewing famous musicians like Bob Dylan. And yeah, no, it's just really well done. But the collection is worth it alone for the famous title essay, The Ecstasy of Influence. And essentially, the essay is a call for genre mashup and, you know, mashup culture, and that, you know, against copyright, and that, you know, artists should be allowed to take one thing and turn it into something else, and, you know, draw upon other sources. And it's like a great, you know, it's a great thesis and idea. And then the trick and the thing that turns this essay into an actual stunning work of art is that at the end of it, he gives you this legend, and you realize that the whole essay has been constructed by other essays. He's pulled paragraphs and sentences together to construct this new essay calling for mashups. And it's just dazzling. You're like, it's so clever but simple that you think, oh wow, why didn't I think of that? It's incredible. One of my favorites. So yeah, Ecstasy of Influence. If you don't really like Jonathan Lethem that much, it would be worth just getting this out of the library to read the one essay, because it is worth it. Check it out, Ecstasy of Influence. And then last but not least is one of my favorite nonfiction books, The Future of the Mind by Michio Kaku. And this is a pop science book all about you know, where current technology is going in the fields of sort of neuroscience and physics, and, you know, all about like virtual reality in your brain, and like, you know, downloading memories and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. And it's just so interesting. He talks about the current science and like where it's going. He's also just this great writer. He's just very he writes very simply and accessibly. He's quite funny as well. And also what I love about it is that, in, you know, talking about the future of science and where it's going, you know, most people, including like sci-fi writers, but other pop science writers, it quickly turns into, oh my God, the machines are going to take over and kill us. Dystopia, you know, any day now. And what I really like about Kaku's writing is that he talks about, no, look, this is really exciting technology, and this is why those dystopian ideas are foolish, and look how it actually can do so much good for the humanity and the human race and the world. And you're like, yeah, go the future. And yeah, it's great. And I just love that he has his little face there. It's so funny. And yeah, no, great book, Future of the Mind. So guys, those were my favorite nonfiction books. Please recommend me anything if you, judging by the sort of eclectic mix of things I had here, if you know of any other books I might really like, please give me a shout. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it. And if you really like this video, please subscribe. Until next time, happy reading. Bye bye bye.